Very, very much. An ambassador from Georgia.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to remind you that before Ukraine, Georgia was invaded in 2008, and 20% of our country remains under Russian occupation. Despite ongoing Russian aggression, with the support of the United States, Georgia has made tremendous strides in strengthening democratic institutions, fostering economic development, to solidify an irreversible path, towards European and Euro-Atlantic integration. I'm also here to tell you that we need a stronger America in Georgia and the region. The conflict, which started in the early 90s, reached its peak in 2008 with the Russian invasion of Georgia and occupation of our territories, as the international community failed to effectively respond to early warning signs. Russia continues its occupation with up to 10,000 Russian military security and FSB border guard personnel. The Russian occupation forces have no legal mandate and are in stark violation of international law and August 12, 2008 ceasefire agreement. In 2009, Russia began installing razor wire fences and other artificial obstacles along the occupation line. The total length of the trenches across both occupation lines is more than 62 miles. We greatly appreciate the interest of Congress and its both bodies and its representatives who are frequently visiting the occupation line. In further violation of ceasefire agreement, Moscow has signed so-called treaties with the occupation regimes. These documents represent a step towards annexation of Georgia's occupied regions, as they provide foundation for full integration into social, economic, administrative, and most importantly, military and security institutions of the Russian Federation. Georgia is pursuing an engagement and reconciliation process with the people in the occupied territories. We make all benefits which are available for Georgian citizens also accessible for our compatriots residing on the other side of the occupation line. Free healthcare, educational, cultural, scientific programs, other benefits of Georgia's European path, such as visa liberalization. Since regaining its independence, to undermine Georgian sovereignty and territorial integrity, Georgia has been subject to different forms of unconventional hybrid warfare. Russian propaganda in Georgia, in addition to economic embargo of 2006, energy cuts, the cyber attacks in 2008, seeks to challenge and derail Georgia's European and Euro-Atlantic integration aspirations. It builds on fears that exist in different societies, creating myths and communicating through different forms of media. A recent example is a spreading of a false information that the well-deserved visa-free travel decision for Georgian citizens to Europe came at the expense of building refugee camps in Georgia. The Georgian government has been effective in its strategic communication efforts through coordinated approach, dismantling myths, but also countering anti-Western narrative by bringing tangible results to the Georgian citizens, like free trade agreement, association agreement with Europe, visa liberalization. As a result, we have managed to maintain strong support toward Georgia's EU and NATO aspirations within 70 to 75%. Overall, despite Russia's vicious efforts, for a small nation, Georgia makes an outsized contribution in international security efforts, allocating more than 2% of our GDP for defense spendings. We are a committed partner in fight against terrorism, and we are one of the largest contributors to the Resolute Support Mission in Afghanistan, with one of the highest number of 870 servicemen. Georgian soldiers are proudly standing shoulder to shoulder with allies in the most dangerous parts of the world. In recent years, we have made progress in building strong and effective state institutions, ensuring democracy, human rights, and rule of law, because we believe that our political and economic progress will ultimately serve as a potent antidote to Russia's expansionist designs. For the last decade, Georgia, as the most reliable and democratic ally of the US in a very tough region, has been a great example of American taxpayers' money wisely spent. Therefore, I want to invite the members and the staff of this committee to visit and see firsthand the transformational power of US assistance. Last year, we have signed a memorandum on deepening of security and defense partnership between our two nations, and we successfully launched Georgia Defense Readiness Program. Further improvement of these programs and elevation of our security partnership is of vital importance, as we believe Georgia remains an essential part of Euro-Atlantic security architecture. When the Cold War ended and the Soviet Union dissolved, the United States and its allies sought to build Europe whole, free, and at peace. Today, one of the basic foundations of security and peace, respect for national borders, is violated, new transatlantic leadership is needed to fortify and enlarge the alliance. We believe a comprehensive long-term engagement strategy of new administration will include the strengthening of Georgia's territorial integrity and sovereignty, improving bilateral trade, economic, investment relationship, and supporting the democratic choice of Georgian people to integrate with Euro-Atlantic institutions. All these measures will make Georgia stronger and more resilient. That is important because stronger Georgia is in the United States' interest as much as stronger America is in Georgia's interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Then